Pinocchio is the latest live action Disney adaptation. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis, the same director who did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump. He also did a couple other movies. And it stars Tom Hanks as Geppetto, and is based on Carlo Collodi's Italian fairy tale of the same name. Now, Pinocchio there have been several adaptations of Pinocchio. We have the famous Disney animated film. There's also a couple of years ago, Roberto Benigni took a second crack at it after wound up being a disastrous first crack. With Benigni, the second crack ended up being much better. Oh yeah, there was also that one with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Like I mentioned, the second attempt at Pinocchio that Benigni actually did wound up being much better from what I've heard than the first one. This is the complete opposite. What Disney ended up getting was the complete opposite. Now, the live action movies that Disney has done at times that involve their animated classics have been hit and miss, if you ask me. I thought Cruella was okay. I thought Mulan was decent. And I love the original 101 Dalmatians. I love the original Mulan. I love the original Beauty and the Beast, and I like the live action one. I love the original Jungle Book, the animated Jungle Book, and I'll admit, I love the live action one even more. And I love the animated Aladdin. I just couldn't really get into the live action one. I was actually really disappointed by that one. Also, Artemis Fowl is a disaster that should never be talked about. And I heard A Wrinkle in Time was really bad. Also, Disney's been hit and miss with the Star Wars movies. I love Force Awakens. I love Rogue One. I think Rogue One is easily the best one that they did. I like Last Jedi. Solo was okay. Rise of Skywalker was a pile of puke. And the live action and Lion King, I was thinking that was a dumpster fire, but then I decided to give Pinocchio a try. Oh my gosh. I take all the negative stuff that I've actually ever said about the Lion King remake, because when you compare the Lion King remake to the Pinocchio remake, the Lion King remake is fucking Godfather. Because the Pinocchio remake is a fucking disaster. Oh my god. This is what they decided to celebrate Disney Plus Day with? This? If this is what Bob Chapek actually picked to celebrate Disney Plus Day with, I'm scared for some of the decisions being made for upcoming live action Disney movies. Because there are ones that I'm actually interested in. I'm actually interested in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Because I am an MCU fan. And that's actually really all that Disney has going for them. Because with their live action remakes, this is just getting stale now. They're starting to, I feel, get to the bottom of the barrel. We're not at Frozen yet, which would be the bottom of the barrel. But we're starting to get there with some of these live action movies. The way that they've been going is if they're going to take their older properties and do something live action with them, or do just make it a sequel to a live action property that you already have. Continue the story from a live action property that you have. That's what I want you to do, Disney. That's what I'm actually starting to want you to do. And if that's actually one reason why I'm actually interested in Hocus Pocus 2. They're taking one of their properties from when I was a kid. They're doing a live action movie out of it, but they're taking a live action property and they're doing a live action sequel to it. They're actually continuing this story. If Disney takes the old properties and do that, okay, I guess. Pinocchio is it's a disaster. I don't know where to begin at describing how much of a disaster it is. When the movie starts, I was looking at Jimmy Cricket, who was voiced by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I admit, he actually does a good job. He's actually good in this movie. His Jiminy Cricket impersonation is actually good, but it's the only good apple in a barrel full of poisonous ones. Which is weird for me to say, because Tom Hanks is in this movie. I adore Tom Hanks. I never thought I would actually say this. He is awful in this movie. He is terrible. Okay, he looks like Geppetto, but his performance is possibly Razzie worthy. And same with some of the CG. Yeah. Some of the CG just looked weird. I was just like, what was the thinking behind this? Because Jiminy Cricket actually looks decent. Figaro looks really good. They actually look like Figaro actually looks like Figaro is there, like he's there in the middle of everything going on. But Pinocchio just doesn't look like how he's supposed to. They keep saying he's wood, but he looks more like he's a plastic puppet that is painted to look wooden. I'm just like, are they going for like a stylized look? Because I actually think that he could have looked better if they actually made the wood that he was made out of, the pine wood he was made of. Yeah, they clearly decided to make it clear that he was made out of pine wood, probably so that they could make one of the jokes that they made in this movie, or at least a reference. I don't know if it was a joke. I didn't laugh. It just doesn't look like he's made out of pine wood. It looks more, like I said, he looks more like he's made out of plastic that is painted to look like pine. And there are also a ton of movie references in the first 30 minutes. It got me going, okay, I get it, you're Disney, you made it The Lion King. They even had a Rafiki hold Simba like the way that he did in that 90s Happy Meal, this that hilariously inappropriate looking pose. Yeah, this movie's also so bad that when it was over, I was just like laughing at how awful it is. There also one of the clocks says Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit. I was like, I get it. You directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You did that kind of thing with Welcome to Marwen, except instead of Roger and Jessica Rabbit, it was the DeLorean from Back to the Future. It was, when you were doing that, I was like, I kept thinking to myself, like, okay, I get it. You directed Back to the Future. Yes, I love Back to the Future. And yes, I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But you don't need to beat the fact that you directed those movies over my head. I mean, and Disney didn't need to beat the fact that they didn't need to do the same thing when it came to all those movies that are from their studio. I was like, yes, I've seen Snow White. I was like, some of these movie references just don't make sense in this world. They don't. There was also some really stupid addition by subtraction. And I think they had like 2 new songs. One of them was sung by Dan Stevens, who was in one of the live-action Disney remakes that I just mentioned. And the number, I can't even remember the musical number anymore. I can't. And they took... It's so forgettable. I was like, why'd you add this when you took out Give a Little Whistle? Give a Little Whistle is actually a really, really good song from the animated movie. Why take that out and put this in? You could have taken this out and put that back in. And it actually probably would have been a little bit better. But if I said it would have actually made it a good movie, in my opinion, well, my nose would be going straight through the wall. I actually kept thinking to myself while I was watching the movie, if I tell myself that I am actually having fun, my nose would go straight through the TV. I wish that my nose would actually have probably done something like that. Because that would have actually ended me watching the movie for the rest of the night a lot faster, maybe. But no, that only happens in fairy tales. They also took out the scene from the first one where Geppetto saying "When you wish upon a star," even though it's probably a good idea because they had Tom Hanks doing a musical number a little bit later, like 10 minutes later, or 10 minutes later after he discovered that Pinocchio came to life. Has come to life. And that made me go, oh, okay, this is why they didn't do that. And if that's the case, because of how bad the scene is, I'm fine with them not doing that. It just seemed like every decision made for this movie was the wrong decision. Also, the CG just doesn't look finished. I don't know if they ran out of time, ran out of money. They probably ran out of passion. Because they probably looked at the script and they'd be like, they'll say the CG is, even if they say the CG is good, they'll still call the story shit. Because the rest of the movie is virtually shit. Is a shit Sunday. Yeah, this is right now the worst movie I've seen this year. I've not seen that many movies this year. There's no chance I'm going to see every movie this year, but I can tell you, there are probably some critics out there that are going to call this the worst movie they've seen this year. This movie is so bad that even calling it a piece of dog shit. Oh yeah, there's also a scene where Pinocchio finds a pile of shit on his way to school, and I was like, dude, you found it exactly what I think this movie is. Or actually, no, that's not dog shit. That is horse shit. Mostly terrible acting. The only decent performance is from Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Terrible looking CG. Also, the movie feels like it's running at least 15 minutes too long. There are several times where I just felt like they could have cut it back. Oh, I just remembered one scene that I feel like criticizing as my light turns off. But I just ain't giving a shit about my light right now. I'm just gonna want to get through this next explanation, this next criticism of mine, and it's the Pleasure Island scene. Part of me was actually glad that it took a while to get to that scene. It really did. And I'm glad it did, because they botched the message. They botched it so bad. I was like, the way that it was executed in the original was far more effective. Because they mostly implied what was going on when Lamplight was being transformed into a donkey. They mostly implied that he was transforming into a donkey. I was like, really? That's what you're gonna do? They like pretty much showed us that's what was happening. It was pretty much shown to us what was going on in the animated original. And if I remember correctly, the Jonathan Taylor Thomas one, they actually showed it. And that is actually even more terrifying and effective. That actually fits the message of the scene even more. Not only the scene, the movie even more. And you take that out and you throw in something else that just doesn't exactly work. There's like too much stuff for me to just like tell you in just one video. I feel like it'll be if I go through everything that is wrong with this movie, it will be a review that's even longer than the movie. The CG is awful. The acting is mostly terrible. The execution of all the story beats is a disaster. Pinocchio gets an F. Fuck that movie. Fuck it all the way to the fucking grave that it deserves to be buried in. It does not deserve to be on a streaming service that actually has good programming. I mean, Disney Plus has good shows on it. They've got dinosaurs. That's a sitcom with the animatronic dinosaur family. They've got The Mandalorian. And season 3 of that looks like it's going to be freaking... Season 3 looks like it's going to be pretty epic. And they've got like the whole MCU, well, almost the whole MCU. Oh my gosh. This movie doesn't belong on a... This movie is so bad, it doesn't have the right to be on a service with films that are as good, or shows that are as good as the ones that I just brought up. Please stay away from this movie. If you want to watch something Pinocchio, watch the animated original. I may just decide to do that so I can wash the bad taste of this movie out of my mouth. As soon as I, as soon as I can. I just gotta find something to like get my mind off of this property.